Hi, I'm Jay, and today we're going to tie an improved ice lice. Stay tuned. So, good morning. Today I'm at the vise and thought I'd turn on the cameras to show a very simple fly that I use ice fishing. It's an old pattern. It's just an attractor that's used ice fishing. Primarily we're fishing for perch when I use this rig. Fish it on either like a drop shot or a tandem hook setup where you have a jig at the bottom and then the fly about 8 to 12 inches up the line is an additional attractant. This works really, really well for all types of panfish. I fish this in the summer drop shot style through lily pads, in and around weed beds, just having fun fishing out of the kayak. So let's switch over to the vise and turn on my face. Now, typically the ice lice is tied on a 3399 number 6 hook. It's a wet fly hook, must add. And today I actually was going through some of my fly tying hooks, and this is just a plain shank. It's a size 8 and it's an eagle claw. Not exactly sure when these were purchased. This box is quite old, from Dick's Sporting Goods, before Dick's was a national chain. They were just a local sporting goods stores. They had 3 or 4 stores here locally. And the price on these, it was a pack of 100 for $3.49. So how old is that? I'm guessing the 80s, right? But I'm using a number 8 hook for this. So let's get some hooks. And this hook has an offset point, so it is at an angle. I typically just bend these straight. If you want that hook point to be offset, that's just fine. You can leave it that way, or using a Mustad 3399, the wet fly hook. I'm going to use size 2/0 round nylon, unwaxed, nothing fancy. A flat fly tying thread would work beautifully on this fly. And we'll begin by just locking our thread on right above the hook point with a few wraps towards the bend of the hook to lock it in place. And get yourself, we're using orange today, some ice chenille. This is a hook and hackle chenille, the Opal orange, but any color. I've done these in chartreuse, silver, gold, a blue, were all very popular colors. So we're going to lock that in place and walk our thread to about and leaving a gap of about an eye's width back from the eye. And I'm going to need some hackle pliers for this, as this piece is getting a little short. I'm going to wrap it away from me between my thread and the jaws of my vise, and you should do about 3 wraps on this. And as I come around the last time, I come to the outside of my bobbin, so when I switch hands and I pick up my bobbin, it's locked right into place. Go ahead and trim this. Now I'm just going to hold some of these fibers back. They can stick up If I can, I will tie them back as best I can. And then the main thing, and what we'd use this fly for is kind of an attractant. It would be tied above a jig, 8 to 12 inches up the line. It would have 4 to 6 inches of line, so it can extend away from your main line. And as you're jigging, like I said, for perch, this fly just kind of floats in the water. We're using just deer body hair. Some of the properties of this is the fact that it's hollow, which is something that we do want for this type of fly, because we want it to float in the water. Especially if you're jigging ever so slightly, this fly will extend and kind of float away from your main line. And it's very common when fishing this to get 2 perch at a time. You'll get one that grabs the fly, and then because there's so much commotion in the water, a second perch has to grab the jig. And so I stack this by hand. You could put it in a stacking tool, but all of mine are over at my fly desk, and I'm not a Jedi yet, so I'm too lazy to get off my chair. We will measure this so it extends past the bend of the hook about half the body length, and it's going to be tied in a way where it extends, it angles up actually away from the hook. Typically we will tip this hook with a mousy or a spike, just to give it a little bit of scent, a little bit of flavor. But when the perch are really hitting, we're dropping the jig and the ice fly down the hole as quickly as possible, and they're just striking at it. So there's been times where you don't have to tip this at all. It's just such a good attractor that you're able to catch perch without putting any bait on it. So as I was talking, my pinch is very, very tight. I'll lay this right into place and lock it on with 3 very loose wraps, and then on my third, as I bring it around the third time, I'm going to pull straight up on my thread just to lock it in place. And it pulls, and the pressure from that thread is just keeping the hairs directly on top of the hook shank. There's no twisting. It's not twisting over the side. As you can see, it stays right on top where I placed it. And now you can just finish it off. I can do a few wraps like so and finish it off like a caddis, but let's try to finish it off like normal. Now this is a fairly tiny fly, so the smallest diameter thread that you're comfortable with tying with is perfectly good to use. Because it's a thin diameter thread, I am able to make a nice little head of thread, kind of like a little baby streamer. And because this is such a small fly with no head on it, I can use a whip finish tool to finish this off. Clip that away. Now I do have a couple tinsel fibers tied forward, and we can just cut those away. And to finish this off, we will just use our lacquer-based head cement. 2 to 3 drops is all you need. You let that head cement just saturate the threads, and there you have it. Calling this the improved ice lice. Let's turn on the face. Very simple fly, very effective to add to your ice fishing arsenal. This is a regular ice lice, and what I've used for as long as I have been ice fishing. And this is tied on a number 6 hook. You can see that it is a little bit bigger. One side by side. So the ice lice is just a little bit of a teaser, you know, something to attract the fish in. And when the perch fishing is hot, like I said, oftentimes we're catching doubles, one on the ice lice and one on the jig that we're fishing below. It's always in my box during ice fishing season. But I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, we'll hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Feel free to add any comments down below. I know this was a real quick video, but it's a fly that's really fun to tie because you can sit and tie a whole bunch of them in just a short amount of time. But it's also very effective at drawing those fish in and catching more fish through the ice. So until next time, guys, keep tying and tight lines.